If you were to read my About Me, I say I sometimes upload Minecraft. Where is it? Where are my Minecraft videos? Yes, that's right, I have never uploaded a Minecraft video on here, ever. Well, I did, twice, and was about to upload a third one, but scrapped it. The state of them now is that, well, third one is scrapped. I straight up deleted the first one, and the only one I still have up now is a meme video, so... But today, since I have access to much more in terms of research, I may as well make a real Minecraft video. One about the records all the mobs in that game hold. Let's go. A mob in Minecraft is an AI-driven creature or entity resembling a living thing, and the term is short for mobile entity. Now then, there are a few exceptions from this, because every mob is an entity, but not every entity is a mob. Take the minecart, for example. It has its own bar of health, but it doesn't move without player interference. So because of that, I won't be counting it as a mob. And that goes for the boat as well. So without further ado, let's begin. The first mob added to the game is referred to as human. The mob was just... how do I explain this? At the time it was just Listen, the mob had the appearance of Steve, the game's mascot. Although back then, of course, he didn't even have that name. Just a little tidbit of information. Anyway, if you press G, he would spawn in and run around, despawning after a while. You can still find these guys in Minecraft Classic, the browser version of the old version of Minecraft. Let's move on now. The first passive and hostile mob to be in the game is the creeper and the pig. Why? Well, I'm pretty sure you've heard the tale of the pig 1,000 times before. But for the two people in the back, the creeper was supposed to be the pig, but the creator of Minecraft at the time, Notch, picked up and made it vertical instead of horizontal, thus creating the face of Minecraft, also known as the creeper. The pig was added not long after, in fact. It was added in the same update as the creeper, was actually horizontal. Good job, Notch. We're still not out of the first version of the game yet, as all the mobs added then have a record of their own. First, let's talk about the skeleton. When they were first added, they didn't have their iconic item, the bow. Rather, they would like a zombie, which we'll talk about later, and simply hit the player with their bony hands. It wasn't until the 0.25 survival test that they shot magenta-shafted arrows at a faster and more random rate than they do now, and shot out 6 arrows upon death, although their arrows were able to be picked up at the time for free. Like, holy shit, you're giving this out for free? Speaking of the zombie, okay, this may be a stretch, since the human was, well, human, and the first mob added into the game, making it the first human mob added into the game, but hear me out. The first human mob that's still in the game. What about that, eh? But yeah, the zombie doesn't have much about it, because the most basic mob in the game. Let's move on. Our first double record. The spider is yet another iconic enemy in the game, and for good reason. This mob is the only one that can climb up walls. And about the cave spiders, those are also spiders, so f*** you. They are also the first neutral mob. Neutral mobs are mobs that aren't immediately aggressive towards the player, but do get aggressive if the player interferes. Anyway, the spider's aggressiveness is also unique since it's influenced not only by you, but also by light. Since if the light level around it is lower than 7, it'll attack you. So that's cool. Now let's move on to the final mob of this version. The sheep is the final mob added in this version, and it's the first mob with 2 states, as in them being sheared. Now then, shearing was different back then. You just needed to hit the sheep to shear it rather than using the shears like you do today. Anyway, the record. This record means that they have a state of being sheared and not being sheared. So yeah, that means that they have two different states. First mob with two different states. On to the next version of the game with a new wave of mobs to come with. Let's go. Where's the transition? Now, I should say we're not going to talk about Indev for reasons. But it also has no records, so LOL. The slime is the mob in the game. It gives slime balls, which can be used for leads and can be used on frogs. But other than that, at the time, they were pretty much useless, because leads, and of course frogs, didn't exist at the time. Anyway, slimes have a unique mechanic in which they actually split into smaller slimes when killed. The only other mod that shares this mechanic is the magma cube, for perspective. And those mobs are literally the exact same. So, the chicken is also the mob in the game. Like, they're just sort of there, but they're more useful than slimes because they give food, feathers, and eggs, which can be used to make more food. Anyway, they actually have a unique mechanic as well, where they can flap their wings and float down to resist fall damage. In fact, they keep flapping and falling when they die as well, so that's funny. By the way, I'm not sure if the slime actually has this as well, because, it doesn't say anything about it on the wiki, but, cute. The spider jockey was added in this version. Oh no, these mobs are a terrible 2-in-1 and are pretty rare to come across. They feature a skeleton riding a spider and can be an easy killer early game. Especially back then. Early game? Comedy genius. I'm a comedy genius, bro. Anyway, this is like the first of many jockeys that were later added, such as chicken jockeys or, I don't know, just jockeys in general, you know. So yes, we're calling the zombie pigman the first nether mob, big deal, but we need justice for this guy. Look how they massacred my boy. They were actually the only nether mob on one version of the game, Pocket Edition. That version of the game had a nether reactor sort of block instead of a portal, because it was hard to get the nether onto that version of the game, especially the portal. So instead, Mojang made an entirely different way to get to the nether. This block could generate you inside a cube of netherrack, surrounded by zombie pigmen with no swords. This was eventually removed when Mojang learned how to code properly. The ghast is also the mob in the game, like the slime and the chicken. They drop gas tears, which can be used for potions, as well as gunpowder, which can be used for TNT and fireworks. But they're aggressive and not a good source of gunpowder, really. Anyway, these mobs were the first flying mob added to the game, and that's really it. And that ends part 1 of Minecraft mobs and their records. I would have loved to do all this in one video, but there are over 50 mobs in Minecraft, and there are a few without spawn eggs, so that even probably brings it up to over 60! 60! So honestly, listing a record for all the mobs that have one wouldn't be as easy to do in one video. So if you enjoyed, like, subscribe and ring the bell, and join my Discord server so you know when part 2 is coming out. Oh, also, join my friend Chainless's new Discord server as well. It's pretty cool. Anyway, bye!